Welcome back to On the Tee, two pros and a hack on this 20th of July, the post-Hack Nation Invitational Edition. We've got Maggie Sutton on the television production and Ben Carroll on the radio side as we broadcast on our flagship ESPN 1700 The Champ across the entire state on the Iowa Sports Connection radio and television network, and also on WHO TV 13.2 as well as KCRG 9.2 on our Okoboji Grill Studios, where it's Wings Wednesday, 45-cent Wings Wednesday. And we're going to talk to Chad Proehl in a moment. And I did make a little comment, but I was just having fun out at the Willow Creek because you are so modest and you don't always go into detail.
Words hurt, Mike. Words hurt.
About, I know you're so thin-skinned, of all of the amenities. Maybe I can pull it out of Proehl of how great the amenities are when you get to play in the John Deere Classic.
Well, absolutely. Well, the other thing is we have failed to mention that Chad had a great defense of his Iowa Section PGA title yesterday, finishing second to Chris Black. Chris, who I don't know where he finds time to play golf. He owns courses, he manages courses, and he shot 100 under par at the Arsenal. But Chad finished second place to him. Chris Black will be next year's representative of the Iowa PGA in the John Deere Classic. But Chad played this year. It was his second time playing in the John Deere, so it's going to be fun to talk to Chad and find out what it's like to qualify on Monday, which you've done, Jay, going into that, and then the difference between that and knowing you're going to play for a full year.
Well, and of course, we'll go back to the last couple of days. You rallied and got fifth. You were nowhere on the leaderboard when I first looked at it, and you rallied and played well.
Well, you just didn't look far enough down the leaderboard, Mike. You didn't investigate. You didn't call and say, Judd, how did you play today?
You didn't see his first round 68, which put him well atop the leaderboard. Didn't play as well after.
I didn't bring that up.
After the 36-hole heat
sauna
up day in the afternoon, but 69 on the final day was awfully fine out of my cohort here.
Now,
does that course play long, or is it a shorter track?
No, it's not a long golf course. It's it's deceptive because if you just look at the scorecard, it's certainly not very long on the scorecard. But there are some holes because they're dog legs, and depending on how you play the hole, can play a little bit longer. The difficult thing was this, that because of the heat and no rain, if you hit it into the rough and there's a lot of trees, that ball would go forever. And I saw guys hit balls out of bounds or close to out of bounds, which you'd never see before. So, did it play difficult? I wouldn't say it played overly difficult because the greens were receptive and they weren't as fast as I've seen them. The golf course was in good shape, but boy, if you didn't hit it straight, you were in trouble.
I was going to say the difficult part. My fellow partner over here played well. Must have been in the fairway a lot more than myself. I found the fairway a lot the first round, but I hit it in a lot of trees the last two rounds.
And that's an older course that has a lot of mature trees, right?
Yeah, it's really old.
Yeah, it's almost 100 years old.
Well, I would guess so. It's about as old as Todd Fowler, the head professional.
Yeah, our buddy from the K-State.
But they had. I'll tell you what. It was intimidating because you walk right into the golf shop there at the Arsenal, and the smiling faces that meet you are great. But they also had this little cardboard cutout that said the heat index today is 120. It's just you walk in and you go, oh God, are you 120? My God, I didn't know it was that hot, and you walked out there going, oh. But it was, I'll tell you what, even though we were riding on golf carts and parking under shade, it was very, very hot out there. 120, 124, something like that. I just wanted to be inside for a while.
I'd never felt sweat pour off me. We said we couldn't. You had to wet
Not
yourself.
even at Kasama?
Not even at Kasama. and I've been through many workouts there, but it was unbelievably hot. You couldn't hardly keep yourself dry out there.
Well, of course, we had our Hack Nation Invitational today, and everybody had a great time out there. You, of course, were one of the participants. And when I started looking at we had 5 flights, and I started looking at some of the people in the 5th, 4th, and 3rd flight. There's plenty of work out there for you boys to teach hacks that listen to this show, I can assure you. And Mags was on number 1, handed out the Hippo Golf Club. She can attest to it, too.
My group noticed by the end of the day when we were driving back in, and even throughout some of the holes, There were a lot of golf balls all over that golf course that people, I think, just hit and left and never went and picked. They were in some strange spots out there.
Well, hot, you're playing four-person best shot. The hell with it. That's my attitude a lot of times. Hell with it. Let's go. You hit one, 90 yards off the tee box. You don't even want to. You want anybody seeing you pick it up. You just leave it and drive by it.
Well, all the free equipment that you get, I mean, what do you care? It's just a golf ball, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The rest of us working man, blue-collar, lunch pail people, we go look for those golf balls.
Yeah, you certainly are a lunch pail for it.
I am.
Of course, it was the free equipment all the players got out there. They got lots of stuff.
They had a good day. You got the Hippo Utility Club, a 23, a 20, or 17-degree loft. You got a FootJoy glove from Stan Sheffield. You got a Cleveland hat from, and I'll get you one, Cleveland hat from Pat Dumphy.
And if you brought your 11-year-old son out like I did, you got to explain to him why there was some Playboy gal out there prancing around on the putting green. So that was also a really.
Hey,
I'd like to thank you for that little present, Mike.
I want to thank.
He's like, what's she doing out there?
I want to thank Playboy Golf and Joe Nicholson, because I tell you what, he just did a superb job of generating money for our great cause, and that, of course, was Mackenzie Larson, Tony and Cindy's granddaughter, that a week ago today was diagnosed with cancer. The majority of the entire day was dedicated to fundraising for her. So the Playboy, I was a little stunned when I saw that set up over there on the practice green. Here's a gentleman that we've had on many times. He's a former Atlantic Trojan, Grandview Viking, and he's our buddy Pearly, Chad Proehl. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing well.
Chad?
Well, Pearly, we just pulled you off the lesson tee. I know I saw you out there battling away before I left Sugar Creek, but we wanted to have you on and talk about, the John Deere last week, I guess, well, maybe 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago now.
Mike was harassing me. He said that I didn't ever help him out or explain what it was like to play in a PGA Tour event, so I knew you'd be kind enough to come on, and if you looked where I finished, I really didn't play in the event. You were right there. Gosh, what did you finish? 1 under par. The cut was 2 or 3, but you were right there. And I'll tell you what, I've told you personally, when we were just together, that I thought you just played fantastic. I mean, the best players in the world, and you were right there competing with them. It was just so great.
Well, I tell you what, I appreciate that, and I did hit the ball, for me, really good. And I told some people that, I didn't putt very good, and I did putt okay. Just the ball, and the ball it didn't find the bottom of the cup often enough. And, that goes for a lot of guys out there, and so everybody can say that. But I played well. I was proud of the way I played, and had a couple of real nice guys I played with too. And so it was a fun experience. The first time I was there in '08, I was just a ball of nerves, and I was nervous this time as well. But I totally felt different this time.
What did you learn from the first time? You felt different. I know having a chance playing it twice, knowing you're going to be able to play there that year. What were some of the things that you took and used to your advantage that second time around?
I think it was more experience, Jay. I think that getting the opportunity to play in a few National Club Pros, which is our big event that we play in, and that John Deere, that, like I said, that first time that I think I was looking at the people more than I was playing. I was just looking at all these people lined up in the fairways and by the greens more than I was playing the game. And I think that's what I learned. I learned that you just have to do the simple things and play the game. And that sounds pretty cliche or simple, but that's all it was for me, and just experience. I think for the first time, I don't know if I drew all that much from it, but I just felt more comfortable this time.
Well, Chad, we got a chance to talk about there's playing in the tournament, that's behind the scenes in the locker rooms, behind the ropes, all those things. You got to play your practice round with a couple young kids from the University of Florida, and I just was looking through last week's Viking Classic. I saw that Billy Horschel, who you played with in the practice round, he won $40,000 last week. So,
wow.
When you think back to playing that practice round and you compare your game to his, I mean, what do you think when I just said that? The guy won $40,000, and last week you were playing a practice round with him. Well,
Jay and Jed, we all hit the ball. I believe with some of these guys out there, and it's just a matter of they do it every week, and I think it's kind of like us going out and playing in a section event. We're starting to feel pretty comfortable playing in our section events. For these guys, I think it's the same deal. And the more and more you do it, I think that it's just another event for them. Now, I think that obviously a major is different, but for Steve Stricker to come over and play in the John Deere, I think is just, kind of like S3 going out and playing a round of golf almost. And not to say he doesn't get nervous or anything, but I think they're pretty comfortable in their setting. And I think it just, playing with Billy and another gentleman called Will, I think his name is Will Strickler, and just some young kids, the future of the PGA Tour type of guys, and boy, they kill the ball, but they don't do a whole lot different than what you or I or Jay do. I mean, they just hit the ball down the middle, and hit on the green, and unfortunately they usually make the putts. So it was fun playing with those guys. No question about it.
Well, Proehl, the playing in the tournament is obviously the highlight, but one of those little things that guys like Jay and myself and other guys that have played in it know about is on that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday leading in, you got all those equipment vans there, and I know because I asked you if you got any Christmas presents from TaylorMade while you were there this week. Tell us about what is that like? You're standing there and you've got these reps from companies saying, "Hey, whatever you need, I'll make it for you. And by the way, if you need 2, that's okay, and it's free."
Yeah, that is pretty neat thing. They treat you like a king over there. I totally felt like one of the. You almost feel like a rock star when you're up there. You've got John Daly coming by in his polka dotted pants. You've got Steve Stricker sitting out there, and these guys are coming up to you and say, "Hey, let's get you on the launch monitor. Let's get you dialed in." You always hear that. Let's dial you in. And boy, did they ever. And I stood up there on Tuesday after my round, and this guy worked me. I think I've got 12 or 13 different drivers with different shafts and different lofts and different lies. It's just amazing. And kind of a neat, well, not a neat story, but they got this driver just dialed in just right for me. And I go over Sunday for a practice round for our section club pro, and the driver shaft snaps on me. So I was panicking a little bit, I guess. It was pretty fun, Chad.
Well, Chad, we're very proud of you across the state. You had it going at 300 at one point. We were all watching.
Yeah.
We were leaderboard watching, and you're always one of the great guys represent the section. And you're welcome on this show anytime, my friend.
Mike, thank you. Jed and Jay, it's a pleasure to be on the show again. I truly enjoy being on with you guys.
Chad Proehl there. We're going to take a break, and we'll do the PGA Pick the Pro contest. Hate to mention who won again last week, and we're going to do the Canadian Open this week. We'll be back here on the Tee on the Iowa Sports Connection Radio Television Network.